What's up, Funky Fam? Liz Granite here to share with you insights on how Liz does life to empower you to live your best life. And today, I want to shine a little light on the queen mother of creating clarity and experiencing joy and fulfillment every day. And that is knowing your values. To put it simply, your values are the things that are most important to you, your guiding principles. Generally, the more important a value is to you, the more positive associations you'll have with that aspect of life. And the less important a value is to you, the less positive associations you'll have with it. What this looks like in action is that when you're living according to your lower values, you're gonna procrastinate. You're gonna need some extrinsic motivation, the old carrot or stick, to get things done. This is the stuff that causes frustration and leaves us feeling drained and burnt out. No fun at all. Think of these as have-tos rather than get-tos. As you've probably experienced at some point, when you live in alignment with your highest values, spending your time and energy doing things that are important to you, that are of great value to you, that fill your cup, oh, now that's a different experience. Instead, you feel energized and inspired. The ideas and solutions just flow, and you flow with the rhythm of life. This is where that sense of fulfillment comes from, that sense of satisfaction, showing up every day to a life that you truly love. What's interesting is that values change. So if you're feeling like you've outgrown a situation, maybe a relationship or a lifestyle, or even the ways you're of service in the world, anything really, think of it as a little nudge from the universe, just inviting you to check in on your values. Because as your inner values shift, you stay in alignment by shifting your outward actions, the things that you spend your time and energy doing. You often hear the term core values because values are just that. They are at the core of who we are. They're the stuff that you came into the world with perfectly intact, before there was any outside influence, before society came down upon you, before life happened, before you experienced fear or pain or scarcity and had to develop the coping mechanisms necessary for your survival. And that's where a lot of us get stuck, because we develop strategies to cope with whatever life is throwing our way. And the more we employ those strategies, the more they become a part of us, the more they become our default behavior. And before you know it, your coping mechanisms become your personality. I've been on a healing journey, like a big one, for the past several months. And I say it that way because I feel like I'm going higher, deeper, and wider than I have in a really long time, probably like 15 years. And it's intense. It is not easy. And I'm staying the course anyway. Part of what compelled me to take this path was a memory. A memory of myself as a child playing on the slip and slide in the backyard and just feeling like filled with joy. Like just radiating it out of every pore, as though every inch of my little 3.5-foot frame was just the perfect physical embodiment of joy and peace and love and freedom. The memory hit me so hard that I could feel it all throughout my body. I can feel it now. At that time though, that feeling was foreign to me. I was like, ooh, what is this? And it caused me to wonder if the memory was even real and if I had ever really been that joyous, because it had been a while since I had felt that way. So I asked my mom. And that's where things got interesting. My mom assured me that yes, I most definitely was that happy, fun-loving, and expressive child. But then she also started listing adverse childhood experiences and chronologically noting all the instances and events that chipped away at my joy, that shut down my self-expression, and that cut me off from my connection. the source of my art, of my inspiration. I was like, so you mean to tell me that I really am all that and I just haven't been acting like it? Well, damn. And also, awesome, because this feeling that's got my mind, body, and spirit activated that I want some more of, now I know where it is. That means I know how to access it. You feel me? Living from your true values doesn't require you to get anything because you've already got everything you need right here. Instead, it's a process of removing anything that is not your values. So unlearning any of that parental, societal, religious, or cultural conditioning that is not in alignment with your core values. It means taking off that armor that may have kept you safe at one point, and now it just shields your light from shining out into the world. Taking off that armor, that takes courage. Here's why I'm calling forth my courage, and I hope you do too. Knowing our values is a most critical component in knowing ourselves. And knowing ourselves is what empowers us to design lives that we love and most effectively share our gifts and talents with the world. Really, if you know your values, you know what you're bringing to the party. You see how you can best serve your community. And you start to understand your part in this beautiful whole. And that creates peace of mind. That creates a sense of connection, a sense of purpose. The understanding of what's most important to you frees up so much mental clutter. And your clearly defined values, they act as a filtration system for what you allow into your life. And that really streamlines the decision-making process. You eliminate distractions, and it helps you make better choices, meaning that you're more likely to be satisfied with the result of your choice. So, how do you get to the core of yourself to discover your values? Well, start by looking at what your life is showing you and listening to the ways in which life is speaking to you. Get curious about yourself and take an honest look at your life with interest, not with judgment, with interest, meaning you're seeking understanding. What are the tiles that make up the mosaic of this work of art that is you? And what are the guiding principles framing your masterpiece? I'm a big proponent of those practices like journaling and meditating, mindful breathing and movement that really open up those lines of communication between the conscious and the subconscious mind. When it comes to discovering my values, I find that a little more structure is helpful too. So in addition to those tools and those practices, there are 6 questions that I like to ask and look at my life for answers. Next, I'm going to share those 6 questions with you and invite you to take your time answering them to discover your highest values. For each question, list at least 3 responses and notice what patterns and qualities emerge. Number 1, what things fill your space? Do you have photos of loved ones everywhere? A lot of books? Do you collect mementos from your adventures or travels? Bring the outdoors inside? How about electronics, musical instruments, sports equipment, band memorabilia, family heirlooms, items related to your spiritual practice? Note the 3 things that you fill your space with most. Number 2, what things fill your time? This is a revealing one because the higher the value, the more time you have for it, and the lower the value, the less time you have for it. This is also why time flies when you're having fun, and the minutes drag on when you're in the midst of a have to rather than a get to. Look at what activities you fill your time with, and identify the underlying meaning or motivation behind them. So if work is in your top 3, look at what work represents to you. Is it financial security? Financial freedom? Is it the opportunity to contribute, to be of service, to express your gifts and talents, to connect with people? Number 3, what do you spend your money on? This one might get you a little squirmy. I know it has for me. Beyond your basic needs, what are the things you spend your money on? If you've got some extra dough, are you more likely to save or invest it for the future? Spend it on beautifying your home, on improving your health, or on an outing with friends and family? Number 4, what thoughts dominate your mind? What are the things you most often think about? Maybe you're mentally rehearsing a workout, imagining a world in which all people have their basic needs met, remembering cherished moments with your honey. Those things that show up repeatedly in the screen of your mind are a reflection of your values. Conversely, the things that you have a hard time remembering or keeping track of, or just struggle to devote mental energy to, those items rank low on your hierarchy of values. Number 5, what do you talk about? This is a fun one, especially if you ask the folks that you talk to most. What topics light you up with excitement? When you meet someone, what do you ask them about? Is it work or family or hobbies, activism, TV or music, travel? It's really easy to talk about the things that reflect our highest values. Number 6, what energizes and inspires you? Finally, take a look at where you feel most enthusiastic and energized in your day-to-day activities. Things that are low on your values will tend to deplete your energy, and things that are high on your hierarchy of values will restore your energy. Do you just come alive as a leader within community organizations? Does a date with your sweetie or your bestie fill your tanks? Maybe you feel invincible after a workout, or your best ideas start popping while you're studying or taking a class. Those bursts of energy and inspiration are clues that you are living your values. Next, you want to look at all the data you've collected and examine which items keep coming up again and again. What patterns are emerging here? Then comes the fun part of assigning meaning to all those items, those activities, those life situations. So if friends shows up a bunch, you want to look at what is that underlying value underneath friendship. Is it connection, communication? Is it love? What is the value that makes having friends such a big part of your life? Maybe you see that you spend a lot of time, energy, and money on working out, on fitness. What's the underlying value there? Maybe it's driven by wellness, by your desire for health. Maybe not though. Maybe it's strength and power that's really important to you. Or perhaps it's achieving a standard of beauty or embodying a certain appearance that matters most to you. Identifying your highest values is like drawing yourself a roadmap for the journey of living a fulfilling life, because it allows you to navigate through the landscape a lot easier. You could just blow by the distractions, time wasters, energy zappers, and chart a direct course to those high value items that fill your cup and empower you to share your special sauce, your talents, your gifts with the world. Discovering your highest values empowers you to live in integrity, with your outward actions reflecting your inner priorities. Again, this is what creates that sense of fulfillment. This is where that feeling of authenticity manifests, when what you think, feel, say, and do are all in alignment. You feel me? Discovering your values is the key to living your truth. This is how you live an authentic life. This is where it begins. So whatever you identified as your highest values, you now get to put into practice by cultivating the time, space, and energy to enjoy more of those things. Your time will be filled no matter what. Now, with this new level of awareness, you're empowered to make a choice about what you fill your time with. As you intentionally fill your time with more high-value items, you're going to notice a shift in your beingness. It might be that you feel more spacious, that you have greater liberty in your life. It might be an increase in your creative ideas, a decrease in your stress. Ultimately, I think it feels like finding yourself in flow more easily and more frequently. I just revisited my values for the first time in 22 months, and wow, there have been some exciting changes. If you embark on this exercise, let me know how it goes for you and what you discover about yourself. In the comments below, share some of your values and how you live those values in your everyday life. Let's do this! Let's unleash our values to live our best, most authentic lives. I'll be back here next week with a new video to support you in living your wildly abundant and richly fulfilling life. So like this video and subscribe to my channel to tune in. Peace, y'all.